Lock Chapter 309 has just released, the gang is back together, and the final World Cup preparations have begun, as well as more updates on Nagi's situation and a returning character that you either love or you hate with all of your heart. Either way, this chapter revealed so much and created so many different outcomes and theories. There's a lot to talk about, so let's jump into it quick. The chapter begins with a bunch of tweets talking about Japan and a BLUELOCK's group that we found out about in last chapter, concerns of France, England, and Nigeria, and I gotta say, this is a completely different Twitter than real life. The Isagi Glazers in real life would say he's scoring a hat trick in every game and breaking Loki's ankles on some Robin timing. I gotta know what kind of threats England has if people are saying they're impossible to beat. Like we saw Agi, and not gonna lie, he wasn't the brightest bulb in the shed. So the possible new Gen 11 for England gotta be Thanos or something to make them really formidable. Anyways, we pick up with Isagi back in Japan, tying his shoes and hyping himself up, saying that he'll become the #1 and defeat all the enemies. Getting ready to leave, his mom and dad say their goodbyes, and Isagi flashes a smile and says he's going, with the reveal that there is 30 days left to the U20 World Cup. So it looks like we have time skipped past the 14-day training arc, and low-key, I'm a little disappointed. We didn't get to see Isagi watch any of the other matches, or even finish the Spain match. No meetup with Bunny or Sai, we just randomly back in Japan, but it's fine because the boys are back and we get the golden duo of Bachra and Isagi. It's been a long time since we've seen these two. Bachra asks if he got taller, and Isagi asks how could he get taller in 2 weeks. And then Itoshi Rin comes out of nowhere trying to include himself in the conversation. And when I mean nowhere, I mean bro legit used that teleport. Isagi got a whole exclamation point and all. He talks about how he grew 1 centimeter since the last time he measured himself, and Bachra and Isagi have zero care in the world, asking what he's trying to prove. Even Bachra asking if he wants praise from Isagi or something. Bachra really the #1 rage baiter of all time. Look at that cheeky smile. And it works because Rin says, as if I'll kill you. And bro just doesn't stop because he talks about how licky Rin is in his growth period. Nah, low-key, Rin gotta be the funniest guy in BLUELOCK to rage bait. Like, you already know he's gonna crash out 100%. Maybe he'll use destroyer mode on you. Anyways, they enter the facility and everyone is here. It's good to see the gang. Nanase all jolly, Chigiri trying to look majestical. Kunigami probably got Fonk in his headphones, and Reo looks a little emo. Bachra asks if they're all here, while Karasu responds, calling them extraordinary. Hiyori says, good to see you. Aiku says a double ace, and Barou trying to be nonchalant just huffs, while Isagi gets hyped. I feel like a little kid on Christmas, because everyone is here, and even these small interactions I appreciate. However, it's time to lock in because Ego is here, greeting them and congratulating them on their 2 weeks of personal training. He starts off saying they're no longer the same as they were 14 days ago, and that each of them have obtained a new weapon, with the combinations of them being the tightrope to victory. Oh, we know some of them got a weapon alright. Some of them are kind of confusing though, because what possibly could Shido have gained from skydiving? Ego starts giving a pre-game speech on how bonds, or the history that they've made in BLUELOCK, or even low-level thinking like for the sake of BLUELOCK, throw it all away. He says he will use them all for the sake of his dream, so make sure to use him for their own dreams. Even though right now they're carrying the hope of Japanese soccer, that's not enough, so don't make this moment the peak of their lives. Yeah, no big deal, y'all. It's just all of Japanese soccer's hopes and dreams, and nothing too light for Ego and the BLUELOCK boys. Another day in the office. I also gotta point out they showing Fukaku again while talking about the hope of Japanese soccer. Tell me honestly, who got hope in this guy? Ego continues on though, saying, don't live only by the memories you've made here. Go beyond all of your egos. Let's go. Nah, Ego, the man you are. He gotta be the Captain America when it comes to these motivating speeches. That let's go at the end got me hype as hell too, like we about to go to war. The next panel is Ego talking about their matchups, with the first game being against Nigeria, last year's champions of Africa, and the second match is the big one, France. Y'all, they're referred to as the world's #1. On top of having Julian Loki, aka the Wally West of this universe, and Charles, aka the Dark Souls final boss of this universe. On top of that, they might even have a new Gen 11. So let's be real, folks, we probably losing this game, which means we're gonna have to win our third match, which is against England, in order to make the top 2 and pass the group stage. I'll give my predictions towards the end, but for now, Ego got that smile on his face and talks about how they're gonna start a special training for victory. Boy, oh boy, this training arc is about to be insane. We see our main boys Bachira, Chigiri, Kunigami, Rin, Shido, and Isagi as the final training camp for the U20 World Cup begins. Me personally, I'm super excited for this training arc, as we'll get to see everyone's new evolutions from their personal trainings, as well as a possible 11 versus 11 match. I've been saying it for the longest time, but even if they don't do an 11 versus 11, some training where we can see new chemical reactions like Shido and Isagi, or old ones like Bachira and Isagi, or Kunigami and Chigiri, all of that would be super hype. But before we get into any of that training, it cuts over to an arcade with none other than Nagi Seishirou. And I know, some of y'all are mad seeing him again, like somehow Nagi got more screen time than Isagi. However, I feel like it's always super interesting when Nagi is on screen, and this is no different because he talks about his choice from before, denying Baratsuta's deal. Basically saying how if he accepted, that wouldn't be his ego anymore, and it's not worth to become a villain and betray BLUELOCK. Props to bro for taking die as a hero or living long enough to become a villain to heart, because I know Nagi would be so emo if his whole persona was to take down BLUELOCK. It's all about Nagi's thoughts as we once again see those emotionless eyes and a recall of Isagi's words to him, saying that he wants to play soccer and still has the option to go pro with his Manshine offer, even if that means he's not on Japan's national team and with BLUELOCK. But he asks himself if he's fine with that and what does he really want. As Nagi questions what fires him up, soccer or BLUELOCK, what is his ego screaming for? And folks, I don't know if y'all are ready for this because someone points a finger gun on the back of Nagi's head and he looks frozen in fear because it's none other than Igaguri. Bro, I'm hella dead. Igaguri gotta be the last person I expected. He says he's been looking for him, Mr. What's a Hassle, and I don't even know how to feel at this point. There's one thing I know though, and that's Igaguri got it on. I was not familiar with your game. He got that long sleeve looking fly. When did Igaguri canonically have ball knowledge? And honestly, this opens up a lot of possibilities. What is Igaguri's role here? Is he coming back into the story? Maybe he's joining the Baratsuta 3. What is going on? The chapter ends there though on yet another cliffhanger. It's always these cliffhangers, so we gotta use our imaginations a little bit. Let's first start with the first half of this chapter, the training arc. I assume this is going to be really showing off the characters' trainings and highlight new characters being developed. For example, Ryo's development and him copying the rest of the 22 players. He probably had the hardest training out of everyone, and with Nagi gone, he's gonna get a lot more development, and we'll 100% see it in this training arc. Now, the interesting part is, what is Ryo going to do? Is he gonna try and play as a striker, go for the number 1 yet again? Or is he gonna flex around because his goal is just to win the World Cup? Same question can be asked for others. Like, is Bachira gonna try and go for the lead striker spot? Chigiri, Kunigami, all those different players, which makes it super exciting to see who's gonna be where and what formations will be brought from this. But I'm pretty sure everyone wants to talk about the last half of this chapter, Igaguri and Nagi, because this was a huge shock. This single panel brings up a lot of questions. Is bro coming back to BLUELOCK? Are we gonna see Igaguri's path to greatness? And I know some of y'all feel very strongly about him being back here. Some of y'all are like, why the hell is Igaguri here? And others are going along with the joke. I personally think Igaguri is pretty funny. He's good comedy relief, but I thought his elimination was final. So now that he's back in the story, what is he going to do? The first option on probably everyone's mind is that he joins the Baratsuta 3, which was revealed in the last chapter, meaning he gets to join Japan again alongside 2 other players. One obviously being Itoshi Sai, and another just being an open slot. However, I'm not really placing my bets on it. As funny as Igaguri rejoining BLUELOCK would be, realistically, would Igaguri take that offer? I know, y'all, we might need the Igaguri impact, Igaguri to go against Loki and Kaiser. We need the monk carry. But y'all, the contract is another thing. I don't think Igaguri is the type to go against Blue Lock, sort of like Nagi. The only substance to that theory is that he coincidentally showed up right after the Baratsuta 3 was mentioned, and his shirt coincidentally has a 3 on it. So the tinfoil hat theory is that he joins the Baratsuta 3. I'm not saying it's 100% ruled out. It's Blue Lock. Any plot twist can happen. It is a little reaching though. I do think, however, Igaguri is gonna have another important role in just talking to Nagi because of the next chapter's title, which is Just Quit. Based off this chapter name, we'll probably see Igaguri and Nagi talking, something along the lines of making a decision, either quitting or taking his club offer. I still think taking the club offer is the best decision for Nagi's character. Him going to Manshine, off-screen training, and learning would be a very good way to develop him. It's a little weird now that we don't have episode Nagi to show that, but it's a good way to keep him in the story while not bringing him back immediately. Igaguri may have accepted his offer for 3 million, which is why he might convince Nagi to accept his. I mean, bro got that new clothes on, and maybe he used his contract money towards that. Regardless, this chapter changed a lot with the reintroduction of Igaguri. We still don't know who the other Baratsuta 3 characters are going to be. Maybe next chapter we'll explore it alongside Nagi and Igaguri. If you guys have any thoughts on who you think it might be, or if you think Igaguri and Nagi will end up joining, make sure to leave it all down below in the comment section. That about wraps it up for this video though. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I would very much appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button. YouTube really thinks you'd like this video right here, so be sure to check that out. I love y'all so much, and I'll see y'all in the next one.